Chapter 766, Half Cent of Spiritual Power. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Huang Yanqun was a bit surprised. She looked toward Zhang Yuochen and asked, "Is the meat of the holy fire Kirin not powerful enough?" Zhang Yuochen smiled and said, "It is indeed valuable and known as a priceless treasure. Even saints will flock towards it. However, in the history of humanity, there have been emperors who killed beast emperors. Why weren't they able to produce 3,000 conquers with physiques similar to saint bodies?" Huang Yanqun furrowed her brow. After a pause, she said, "Is it because only the 9-colored divine fire that the holy fire Kirin Emperor cultivated can transform a monk's essence? A monk who eats other beast emperors' meat won't be able to reach that effect." Zhang Yuochen shook his head. "Do you know how much power is contained in a drop of a beast emperor's blood?" he asked in return. "A regular fish dragon monk won't be able to digest the drop of blood. In fact, their bodies won't be able to withstand that power. They'll burst and die." Of the 3,000 conquers, some ate an entire platter of the holy fire Kirin meat. They'd ingested thousands of drops of blood, but they were able to withstand it. "Don't you find it incredible?" Huang Yanqun's eyes brightened. She kind of understood Zhang Yuochen. "So you're saying that it's not the holy fire Kirin meat that's powerful. It's the 18 ancient and secret techniques of the imperial chef that created this incredible miracle of the air banquet." "That's right." Zhang Yuochen nodded. "Empress Kayao's imperial kitchen must have a powerful figure. Only a true expert can cook the meat of a beast emperor. A regular monk probably can't cut the meat, even with a saint weapon. Can it be made personally by Goddess Nati, one of the 9 heavenly maidens?" Huang Yanqun asked. "It's said that she received the heritage of the god of food from ancient times. She has the world's most miraculous hands. Tasting a dish that she cooked is more effective than taking a sacred pill." In the ancient times, gods had existed in Kunlun's field. If Goddess Nati had really received the heritage of this god, then she definitely wasn't limited to cooking. She must be a very powerful character. None of the 9 heavenly maidens are simple. Zhang Yuochen glanced at the saint lady with a heavy expression. With his current cultivation, he was much weaker than the 9 heavenly maidens. When could he catch up to Kayao's realm? The saint lady announced now, "Tea for the king's seat." 108 girls dressed in white palace uniforms came in, dancing. As they danced beautifully, they carried crystal platters and placed tea sets before the 108 young kings. The teapots were green and translucent. There were mysterious engravings on the surfaces. Each line seemed to contain power of the saintly way. The 3 teacups in each set were also green. They were made with the same material and also radiated with pure holy qi. They made people feel refreshed. The teapots and cups are all made of saintly jade. Each set is worth a whole city. I wonder what kind of tea can be qualified for this tea set. Most of the young monks who could keep their king seats had saint bodies. The others had unique physiques that were even stronger than saint bodies. Thus, they were more composed. Even though they anticipated the tea inside, they could control their emotions. Bu Qianfan seemed nonchalant. He picked up the teapot and poured into one of the cups. Splash! The tea was cool and emerald green. It looked like jade nectar and had a fresh fragrance. But other than that, there was nothing special about it. However, how could regular tea be brought to the air banquet? Everyone looked over at the saint lady. She just smiled and said, "This tea is called the Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea. These are the only 108 servings that have ever existed from the Middle Ages till now." Her words were quite bizarre. It had been at least 100,000 years since the Middle Ages. How could these 108 servings be the only ones? Was she not qualified to taste it either? "There is no need to doubt my words," Saint Lady said. "The wine, meat, and tea here have all been personally prepared by the Empress for all the talents present. The 108 servings of Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea use the saintly sources of 8 beast emperors as tea leaves. 37 millennium-old saintly medicines are added as well. It took 300 years to refine. This is why I said that these are the only 108 servings to have existed since the Middle Ages. It is not an exaggeration at all. Who else can create the Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea in the next 100 100,000 years. No one could keep calm after hearing Saint Lady's explanation of the tea. Even the sense of the large forces in Shintai City flushed red with excitement. Their blood started bubbling within. Martial arts had 4 realms: Huang Realm, Xuan Realm, Earth Realm, and Heavenly Realm. The Saintly Way also had 4 realms: Half Saint, Saint, Saint King, and Supreme Saint. Only savage beasts that reached the Supreme Saint realm could become beast emperors and become the strongest existence in Kunlun's field. Monks who refined a saint's saintly source would have a bigger chance of becoming a saint and reaching the saint realm. In 100,000 years, only Empress Kaiyao could use the saintly sources of 8 beast emperors and create this supreme saint heavenly tea. One mouthful of the tea would be comparable to ingesting at least 10 saintly sources. Is the Empress really that enlightened and willing to take out something so precious for the young kings to drink? Probably even the ancient saints would go crazy with envy. If the past human emperors had possessed such treasures, they wouldn't have shared them with everyone. The current Empress is truly unparalleled through the ages. Even the monks of the demonic sect and other cults were incredibly impressed by Empress Kaiyao's actions. If they were in her spot and had the Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea, they would definitely drink it themselves. They wouldn't bring it out for a bunch of juniors that they didn't even know. It was evident that the Empress was truly a saint, working to revitalize the human race. She put many people to shame. A young king from the black market raised his cup and announced, "Today, I, Shangjia, vow that if I become the leader of the black market, we will never become enemies of the imperial court as long as the Empress is ruling." Zhang Yuochen inhaled sharply. He felt heavy. It was getting harder and harder to understand Kaiyao. He was curious about what exactly she was doing. If Kaiyao really was so selfless and noble, why would she secretly attack and kill him back then? Why did she fool everyone and secretly construct the heaven and earth altar? Was tonight's air banquet a bigger conspiracy? Or was it because Kunlun's field was facing a great threat? As the Saint Lady had said, Kaiyao had been preparing for the air banquet 300 years ago, or even earlier. Why is she cultivating so many talents, conquers, kings, and heirs? 800 years had passed. Kaiyao was no longer that innocent and naive girl. She was no longer the cynical woman who'd killed Zhang Yuochen either. She'd become calculative and impossible to understand. Drinking the Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea couldn't immediately make a monk reach the almighty state. It could only aid the monks in comprehending the saintly way. This meant that the 108 young kings would definitely reach the saint realm, or an even higher state. In addition, they would cultivate martial arts techniques and comprehend the saintly way very quickly. They would definitely become saints within 100 years without reaching any bottlenecks. The talents who drank the 6 saints to the sky wine and the conquers who'd eaten the holy fire Chiron meat would benefit too. However, it was still uncertain if they could reach the saint realm. The first king's seat was the highest spot and also received the most tea. It was a full pot. Huang Yanjun took out 2 teacups and filled them. Then she extended 2 slender fingers and gave 1 cup to Zhang Yuochen. Her eyes were extremely bright. "This pot of Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea belongs to you. Try it." Zhang Yuochen didn't object. He accepted the cup and brought it to his lips, drinking it all. When the tea reached his stomach, it immediately turned into a puff of green qi. It scattered, forming strands of holy qi. They reached every crevice of his body like a spider web. At this moment, Zhang Yuochen seemed to be covered in green saintly light. His head felt empty while the problems that had stumped him before all became extremely easy. His understanding of the saintly way seemed to shoot up more each second. Of course, the Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea could only help him understand the saintly way more easily. It couldn't make him go from the beginning of the Fish Dragon Realm's 8th change to the middle stage. For a monk in the 9th change, it was completely different. They were already at the peak of their realm. The reason why they couldn't enter the half-saint realm was because their understanding of the saintly way wasn't enough yet. After drinking the Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea today, they could enter the next realm instantly. More than 90 of the 108 young kings became half-saints within 15 minutes. Only a few remained in the Fish Dragon realm because they didn't have high enough cultivation realms or purposefully repressed their cultivation. Boom! Suddenly, a saint soul formed above Zhang Yuochen's head. he'd reached the half-saint realm. How could someone in the beginning of the fish-dragon realm's 8th change suddenly become a half-saint? The saint lady had been observing Lin Yue. Seeing him form a saint soul, she wasn't surprised at all. She knew that Lin Yue cultivated spiritual power along with martial arts. The Supreme Saint Heavenly Tea must have strengthened his spiritual power, breaking through 45 levels and instantly becoming a half-cent of spiritual power.